Have you ever wondered what happens when the unstoppable force of global sanctions meets the immovable object of immense wealth? What if the very people targeted by these sanctions decided to fight back, not with weapons or words, but with the full force of the law, demanding a sum so vast it could fund a war? This isn't a hypothetical scenario. It's a high-stakes legal drama unfolding right now. A story of power, principle, and a staggering 50 billion euros. This journey begins in the wake of conflict, as the European Union imposed sweeping sanctions on prominent Russian businessmen. These measures were designed to exert pressure, to isolate, and to penalize. But for the individuals on the receiving end, it was a declaration of economic war. Their assets were frozen, their businesses crippled, and their global operations thrown into chaos. For many, this was a devastating blow, a challenge that seemed insurmountable. Yet in the face of this adversity, a new and unexpected battlefront was opened. These businessmen, these so-called oligarchs, chose not to surrender. Instead, they embarked on an audacious legal quest, turning the tables on the EU and demanding compensation for their losses, a sum that remarkably mirrors the total military aid the EU has provided to Ukraine since 2022. The foundation for this legal counteroffensive lies in a powerful, often overlooked tool in international law, the investor-state dispute settlement, or ISDS. These mechanisms, embedded within international investment agreements, were originally designed to protect foreign investors from unfair treatment by host governments, such as the seizure or nationalization of their assets without proper compensation. It's a shield forged to encourage cross-border investment. In a stroke of legal ingenuity, these Russian businessmen are now wielding this shield as a sword. They argue that the EU's sanctions amount to a form of expropriation, a violation of their rights as investors under treaties like the one between Russia and Belgium. They are framing the sanctions not as a legitimate political tool, but as an unlawful seizure of private property, and they are using the EU's own legal frameworks to demand justice. The scale of this legal challenge is unprecedented. As of now, a wave of approximately 28 lawsuits has been launched by Russian businessmen against the EU in relation to these sanctions. The majority of these, a staggering 24 cases, are leveraging the ISDS mechanism, signaling a coordinated and strategic approach to this fight. The momentum is building, with 13 of these complex cases slated to be filed in the coming year, 2025. This is not a scattered series of individual grievances. It is a concerted, well-funded legal campaign, a testament to their resolve to reclaim what they believe is rightfully theirs. Each lawsuit represents a story of ambition thwarted, of empires threatened, and of a relentless struggle against a continental power. Within this broader legal war, individual stories of hardship and defiance emerge, painting a vivid picture of the human and financial toll of the sanctions. Consider the case of Alisher Usmanov, a billionaire with vast holdings in mining and technology. He speaks of a career built over decades, now teetering on the edge. He recounts how the sanctions severed critical business ties, disrupted meticulously planned deals, and pushed some of his companies, once titans of their industries, to the very brink of bankruptcy. His lawsuit is not just about money, it's about his legacy. A lifetime of work he claims is being unjustly dismantled. Then there is Roman Abramovich, a name synonymous with the glamour of international football. The former owner of Chelsea FC, forced to sell the club he transformed into a global powerhouse, is now fighting on a different front. He is demanding over $1 million in compensation, not for himself, but for a charity he established. His claim centers on the principle that the EU's actions have harmed a philanthropic endeavor, turning a tool of political pressure into an obstacle for humanitarian aid. His journey is one of a public figure stripped of his prized asset, now seeking to salvage a different kind of legacy through the courts. Perhaps the most staggering case is that of billionaire Mikhail Fridman. He has filed a monumental lawsuit seeking an eye-watering $16 billion in compensation from the nation of Luxembourg. His claim stems from the decision to freeze his assets after he was placed on the EU's sanctions list. Fridman's fight is fueled by a significant prior victory. He and his business partner, Petr Avin, successfully challenged the initial sanctions against them in court. The EU's own judiciary ruled in their favor, stating that the evidence presented to justify their inclusion on the sanctions list was not convincing enough. This earlier triumph has emboldened them, transforming their struggle from a desperate defense into a confident and aggressive pursuit of massive damages. Their story is a powerful narrative of vindication, a journey from being accused to becoming the accuser, demanding accountability on a scale that could rattle the financial foundations of a nation. The reaction to this legal onslaught has been a mix of defiance, caution, and geopolitical maneuvering. Belgium, a key country in this saga due to its investment treaty with Russia, has taken a firm stand. Through its Minister of Defense and Foreign Trade, Theo Franken, the government has declared it will not consent to using frozen Russian assets to fund loans for Ukraine unless it receives a full guarantee from the entire European Union. This stance highlights the internal divisions and legal complexities the EU faces, turning the frozen assets into a political hot potato. Belgium fears being left financially liable should the oligarchs win their lawsuits, a testament to the perceived legitimacy of their legal claims. Meanwhile, the Russian Foreign Ministry has dismissed the EU's discussions about using the frozen assets to aid Ukraine as entirely unrealistic. From their perspective, Brussels is not an impartial arbiter, but an active participant in what they label a seizure of sovereign and private Russian assets. They view the lawsuits not as a private matter, but as a justified response to an act of economic aggression by the West. This official backing adds another layer of political weight to the legal battles being waged by the businessmen. However, not everyone is convinced that these lawsuits will lead to a financial windfall for the plaintiffs. Many seasoned legal experts view the cases as more symbolic than substantive. They point to the formidable legal hurdles that exist within the European Union's judicial system, which is designed to uphold the bloc's political decisions. These experts suggest that the primary goal may not be to win billions in compensation, but to create political pressure, to challenge the narrative, and to cast a long shadow of doubt over the legality and effectiveness of the sanctions themselves. It's a strategy aimed at winning in the court of public opinion, even if the legal victory remains elusive. Despite some sources suggesting that the EU sanctions have been largely ineffective in altering Russia's course, the bloc remains steadfast, continuously seeking a consensus on how to leverage the frozen Russian assets to support Ukraine. And so, this extraordinary saga continues to unfold. It is a story born from the depths of geopolitical conflict, a journey of powerful individuals who, faced with the full force of international sanctions, refuse to be broken. 8. They have channeled their immense resources and resolve into a legal battle of epic proportions, challenging the very foundations of the EU's authority. Whether their quest is a righteous fight for justice or a cynical ploy for financial gain, one thing is certain. They have transformed their story from one of victimhood into a powerful testament to resilience. They have shown that even when faced with seemingly insurmountable odds, the will to fight back, to challenge, to demand what one believes is right can create a storm powerful enough to shake the corridors of power across a continent. Their journey is far from over, and the world watches, waiting to see if this audacious challenge will end in a historic victory or a valiant, but ultimately failed, attempt to hold a superpower to account.